Hello and welcome to my dear listeners. This is for the people who loves novels but have no or little time for themselves to read the novel. I will be reading some of the novels that I love and share the stories with you. I hope you will enjoy. Thank you. Today, I am going to start with the novel The Lamentations of a Somber Sky, a novel by Manan Kapoor. Let us go straight to part 1. Your Moji says God is an architect, but I think he left you with a lot of things undone. Look around, it's not paradise, this valley, it is paradise lost. Maqbool said. Inayat sat next to him, listening as she tossed her hair behind the earlobe. The smoke rose from the corner of his lips as he took the last puff from his cigarette. He looked at Inayat, waiting for a nod or a reply from her, but she turned and started memorizing the dates from her tattered history textbook. It was not something new for her. She knew of her surroundings and its imperfections just as much her father did. But even though Inayat lived in the benumbed remains of silence, she somehow managed to find things that still had the capacity to decorate her face with a smile. What she had considered a disturbance all her life had now transmuted into a pleasure that she waited for in the shadows of a dark room every night. The beacon, it stood tall on the summit of the mountain that overlooked her neighborhood. She sat by her window, watching the light scattered into the fog, forming an aurora that flickered every 4 seconds. She could not date back to a time when she had not seen the iridescent light on the mountain. It had continued to flash for almost 2 decades now. She did not know what it was installed for, but it was something that brought her to terms with peace, a light that gave her hope. Hope. Inayat had named it after the first word she had spoken as an infant. She sat on the wooden chair, her hands on the cold ledge of the window as she stared out, watching the light as it pulled her into a state of transcendence. After every other light in the vicinity died out in the small, tranquil neighborhood. The air was still cold as the winters had begun, and when it became too cold to sit by the window, she tucked herself into the warmth of her bed. Her gaze was fixed on the light as she trembled. Slowly, Inayat was taken by the somnolence, and within minutes she fell into limbo. It was the dawn of the day she had been waiting for the past 1 week. She would sit by the radio every evening, listening to the weather forecast as she waited for the snowfall. She had been waking up every day, expecting to see the snow outside. The clouds would briefly appear and leave with a few winter splashes, and all that flashed before her eyes were the autumn leaves rusting in the periphery of the trees. The morning, she could smell the fresh cup of kawa lying on the side table even before she managed to open her eyes. Its pungent smells assured her that what just happened was a dream. Half asleep, she could sense the irritation in her bloodshot eyes. She touched the porcelain cup covered with oriental sketches in blue. It was still hot. Her mother had kept it probably 5 minutes ago. And there it was, a blanket of white flecks falling from the cosmic womb. Her wish had finally manifested, even though it was something inevitable. It was a wish nevertheless. Winter had finally surfaced in the valley, covering everything in a blanket of white residue. Unlike all the other days, she was not reluctant to get out of the coziness of her bed. Pushing aside the thick woolen blanket that had sweated her all night long, she searched for her sea green plastic slippers in the oblivion beneath her bed. She inhaled the cold air that chilled her lungs, cooling off all the warmth of the night. She felt complete as she watched the snow-covered surroundings. Inayat could see Makbul's white Fiat, which seemed somewhat submerged as her hands rested on the icy window pane. It must have been snowing all night long, she thought to herself. The chinner in the backyard stood shivering in the snow, its bare branches pointing in all directions. Gul's thatched roof was the only thing that she could still make out, everything else obscure under the white sheet. As she looked towards her house, she could sense the commotion that was forever persistent. She left the window open as she descended the wooden staircase covered with the orchid-colored carpet. Step by step, she reached the usual sight of the living room, the tranquility of the place as it had always comforted her. The radio resting right between Dostoevsky's and Hemingway on the fourth level of her late grandfather's colossal mahogany bookshelf was buzzing with retro ghazals. Makbul's first drink of the day had dawned even before his daughter. A cigarette rested in the glass ashtray, its tip burning red. Her father was where she found him every day, in the comfort of his beige-colored recliner, his neck hiding under the warmth of a maroon muffler as he stared into a second-hand paperback. "Princess, you are up early today," he spoke, reading the novel. "Baba, it's snowing outside," Inayat said. "Is it?" he replied, gaze still fixed on the yellow book. Thank you for joining me today. It really means a lot. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And stay tuned for the upcoming video. Hope you will enjoy the next video like you did today. Take care.